Opening disclaimer.
Hi there, Steve here, the DM for Alignment Unknown. The following few parts you're about to hear are a pilot episode we recorded whilst working on the technical side of our podcast. Once it was all done, we thought you guys would enjoy hearing the crazy one-shot we played as a lore writing session for the main campaign, coming soon. It also allows you players and those interested in playing to hear what an end-of-campaign boss fight could be like without giving up 2 years of social life and gaining a lot of emotional scarring. Anyway, keep an eye out for episode 0, a collection of backgrounds for the main characters of the upcoming storyline, which should appear at the end of May, early June, along with more wonderful material. Anyway, enjoy the podcast. I've got a TPK to write.
System error. Alignment unknown.
Here we go. We're going to have a bit more of a professional feel to this because obviously the recordings won't affect how we play, but there's 2 red lights in front of me that says it will. So,
oh, right.
So quick, darling.
for anyone else who can't see, there are 2 mics with red lights on them.
I looked at the ceiling.
Where's the red? Oh, there's a live on air bit now as well.
Oh, I'm so tired.
It's okay, it's okay. Right, let's settle down for a little bit of story time, and then you'll have to talk. So get ready, because you're going to need to talk in a minute. We ready?
Yeah.
Everybody sitting comfortably.
Thoughts, yes. Yeah.
Good,
Sort
let me
of.
begin. So, the year is currently 1047 DR, or Dale Reckoning, though would later become known as the beginning of a new age, the Abyssal Demise. The world has known many wars and apocalyptic events, including that of the wars between lawful and chaotic, good and evil, and even deity against deity. The free folk of the Forgotten Realms have survived through it all. The Harpers, an intelligence group funded and controlled by the Churches of the Sword Coast, alongside their sister faction, the Lord's Alliance, a church-funded army, have been key protagonists of the long-waging Abyssal War. However, this story is not focused on their work, but a hired group of adventurers that have been pivotal in the Harpers' plans. The Core of Tyr is an incredible tour de force formed by 3 powerful heroes. They were first noticed by the Harpers when they single-handedly thwarted the plans of a Genesi thieves guild known as the Tory. That's a fucking tongue twister. Who were employed by a small cult that have been rising since the death of Lord Rawlaw in 1032 DR. Along the way, they have saved countless people from such villains as the Stockbreakers, an evolved group of awakened cats that extort small businesses before taking on over the village or town, and the Wayward Sun, a powerful young red dragon that threatened the local city of Carrion. Booyah. The group received local fame when they answered the call of a local port town, leading them into an almost fatal battle with a formidable aboleth that had been the ruin of many a poor sailor. It was here that they lost their fourth, Pori, and a Tabaxi ranger. Steeling themselves to the loss, the group pushed further into their work and uncovered the cult of the Sunken Lord, the then bolstering cult that caused the Core of Tyr's forming in the first place, where attempting to resurrect Lord Rallor through terrible necromancy, leading to the tear in fabric between the material plane and the abyss. He was doing so well. And bringing forth the first of many enemies in the Abyssal War, the Death Knight Lord Soth. After dispatching the knight, the group were hired by the Harpers to deal with the first wave of attack in the onslaught and cripple the archpriest of Leogzed, attempting to bring back the god of troglodytes and save Waterdeep from the brutal defeat it almost had to face. Right, we're almost there, guys. It is here, the economic hub of the famed city of Waterdeep, that we begin this final chapter. A multicultural, high-octane and arcane beauty perched upon the cliffs of the Sword Coast, amidst its buildings, Stephen didn't write that right, amidst its buildings, sitting the just as famous Yawning Portal Tavern. The proprietor, one scraggly bearded human man of the name of Derman, rumoured to be a masked Lord of the Waterdeep, allowed restless souls to use the portal situated in the well in the centre of the tavern's bar, for a fee, of course. It is in this tavern that a representative of the Harpers sits, in a simple room above the bar. The walls and floor are bare wood, creaking and stained with years of use. The bed has been removed and replaced by a dark wood desk, at which the elven agent pores over a ledger with several letters scattered around. The noise of the hectic, incessant cawing of shopkeepers and patrons from outside downstairs are all but muffled by an arcane enchantment coating the walls of the room. The elf is a light redhead with a pinched expression and a slender frame, her doublet complementing the aged wood of the room in a deep and luxuriant purple. As the sound of the quill against parchment starts to fill the absence of prominent sound, the woman is interrupted by a sharp knock at the door. She calls for someone whoever it is at the door to enter, and three unlikely figures enter the door. Starting with Adam on my left, or Jingar.
Hello.
Would you like to describe what we see? I'm going to put them back on here so I can roll.
Jingar is a rather hefty dragonborn who carries on his back a rather big maul, which is ominous at best. It's a rather large bear maul, and he's been known to bury himself in drink from time to time and kind of swing it around wildly.
Next we come to Pepper, played by Kyra.
So, a half-elf wizard. Looks like they've gone through a hedge backwards, not going to lie. So, very skinny, great leg muscles. Just saying.
Can you see it through the robe?
The robe has been cut short.
Split to the hip.
Split to the hip, cut short for the best leg action when she pegs it away from wherever hell is going on, because survival is key.
So just to double check, because I've got a couple of notes on this. Jingar is male.
Yep.
And Pepper is now female.
Pepper is a weird one.
So
Sorry.
Pepper's an elf.
androgynous.
Yeah,
Pepper's an elf.
is
No one can
Oh, we're
tell.
going an out. Sorry, yes.
Yeah,
of course.
sorry. I think
Whatever
there's
parts
a
are needed.
penis. But even I'm not sure. Like,
You know what?
Pepper does their thing.
We'll find out if there's ever a love scene in this. That's fine.
Pepper's like a blind date in Thailand. You're not sure.
Until it's too late. Anyway, and finally, the third person to enter the room would be Tullia Crypt Garden,
Hello.
played by Kirsty.
Played by me. You see a navy-skinned tiefling waltzing in. She's quite tall and a bit gangly. Rarely has an expression of any description on her face.
So a teenage tiefling.
Yeah. Although, like,
Teenage
she's like 42, so she's just living the teenage dream.
Okay. Because 42 is where we all turn into teenagers,
Yeah.
depending on what race we're playing. For those who are listening, because obviously we're playing to a crowd that we don't know yet, Dragonborn being a humanoid dragon figure.
Yep.
What race of... or what?
It's a red dragon.
Red dragon, lovely.
Big old fiery bastard.
Lovely. A half-elf being a mix between a human and an elf, where someone wanted to do the help, depending on which one was which. And then finally, a tiefling is a humanoid devil-like creature with horns and a tail. Have you got horns or tails on this one?
Yeah, I've got like two like massive, like kind of goatee horns, like
So they're going round-
curly whirly.
You're making a layer out of your
Yeah.
tiefling layer.
Going Star Wars on this.
That's great. Do you have a brother who's going to shout about you shouldn't lay a hand on her? All right, the podcast has been cancelled.
It was
It was so promising. It's all right. I didn't start with a funny joke. Anyway, it was a terrible Yoda. And speaking of terrible voices, as you all enter the room, she's about 4 or 5 foot high, but you can't see this from behind the desk, so why would I tell you? Sorry, question?
Oh no, it's
No,
just
that's fine.
my hand's just resting.
That's fine.
Sorry.
As you enter, she looks up and basically acknowledges your approach. You have met this elf before. She is the person who hired you in the first place to look into the Leigh debacle, for want of a better word. Her name is Bellatrix Arivadan, and she is a low-level spy. She is normally kind of the one that gets the rough end of the stick. They give her kind of fobbing off missions rather than actually asking you to do anything of importance so she can prove herself. However, as you three as a group and her influence on the last mission you followed have attested to, she's got a bit more clout now and has been asked to take the lead in employing you three for what could be your last ever mission. So, as she looks up, yes, the Core of Tyr. Hello, welcome to the Yawning Portal. It's not somewhere I like to frequent a lot. However, it seems to be the best sort of area for what we have planned. How was the Abyss?
Smelling.
I did a lot of killing.
Lovely. Anybody come back with any ailments or anything that we need to know about before we sign up? Anyone have any issues with any demon possessions? Any disappearing acts? Anything like that?
No, I'm fine.
No, I did a lot of killing. Quite a lot of killing.
Okay, lovely. Right, well, let's not beat about the bush. Time is of the essence on this one. We have received information that the demon lords, the generals of the Abyssal Army, are meeting in a, for want of a better word, a safe place. And essentially, we have received information that their leader may be there as well. We're not too sure, though. Nobody's heard anything about the leader until this last week's information was brought forward. The prominent members of the Demon Lord General Function, or whatever they're calling themselves nowadays, are meeting on the Moon Glade, or otherwise known as the Shadow Glade. It's a rather unknown or unused layer of the Abyss. For those of you who studied up before going there the first time, the Abyss is split up into several layers. We don't know how many there are. Some mages suggest there's 666, but then some mages may just be trying to making a cash cow out of it.
Does seem trifle convenient.
As you may also know and may be aware from the layer that you visited previously, each layer is dominated or controlled by one of the demon lords. However, this one seems to be a neutral ground, so nobody can hold it above another. So the leader has either got control over this layer or seems to be playing against the normal demonic nature of the Abyss. What we're suggesting is we have hired several groups to basically act as a rear guard and take on the smaller heroes and champions of the Abyss, basically leading up to an attack on each of the demon lords themselves. If they win, if they defeat them, great. However, you guys are going to be the spearhead if you accept this. We're planning to send you against the big one.
Do we have any information on what they actually are?
So, we know that the demon lords involved at the moment are the Demogorgon,
Classic.
Yinagu, the Lord of the Gnolls. We know that Jubilex, the Ooze King, is involved. We know that Grazd, 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 G-R-A-Z-Z''T. He's lurking around. Lulf has been mentioned, but we're not entirely sure if this is to spook us or if it's to suggest that they've bolstered the energies of the demon lords by adding someone a bit above their rank. And the one that we're asking you to face, as he seems to have been made the kingpin of the faction that they've created, we're asking you if you could essentially cripple, if not defeat, Baphomet.
Would I know who Baphomet is?
Make a religion check.
Oh no.
First roll of the...
It's bodes so well.
Go on.
That would be a cheeky 12.
12? Okay, so Baphomet, you know, has his own layer of the abyss known as the Endless Maze. He's also very... whenever someone is making a cult for a following of Baphomet, you notice that they always have puzzles and tricks seem to be the key features of any dungeon or any encampment that they have. You know that he is known as the Horned King and the Prince of Beasts, and that he rules over minotaurs and other savage creatures, and that his main goal as a demon lord is to remove civilized life from existence. He would prefer that it's a literal dog-eat-dog world.
He sounds like a nice guy.
Well, you know, you get a bit higher in the ranks of the demon lords, and you start to lose that childish joy that you had. Maybe you just need to cuddle.
Anything we need to know before we go in there?
Like I say, they're meeting on neutral ground. The main thing that I would say is don't try to intervene with the other demon lords.
Why not?
Because I wouldn't want to go into a fight with a boxer with one of my arms tied behind my back. I'm not suggesting that...
But I have both arms free.
Yes, but... let's go with this one. 3 is better than 2.
There are 5 other demon lords there and only 3 of us, and we've taken out stuff before, but never that. Oh, it'd be fun to do, though.
You may remember from
No,
your
I
last
think we
meet-
concentrate on one. He looks too excited.
Essentially, I'm suggesting that you focus all your energies on one rather than expending a lot of energy and finding that you're suddenly wrapped in the tentacles of the Demogorgon, and then we're screwed because our main element of surprise is you attacking where they think they're safe.
What's the backup plan if it all goes to shit and the Demogorgon does find us and decides to wrap tentacles?
Well, this is why that's why I've conscripted several rear guard. There are going to be... essentially, you are not the only adventuring group that is being hired today. The other ones that you may be familiar with, I don't know if you've worked with them before. There is the Frostbane contingency. There is Tavar Frostbane, who is going to be leading the one against the Demogorgon. There is the... I don't actually know the names of the other ones, as you may remember of our last meeting. I'm not very trusted with information at the moment. Not that I leak it, it's
That
just...
was embarrassing.
Yes. Not like... nothing like being made to look like an idiot in front of the people you're meant to be hiring. But hey-ho!
It's okay if you are, though.
Once I'm the Inquisitor of the Harpers, then things will change.
Sure.
Anyway.
So the other generals should be preoccupied.
Yes.
Fantastic.
What I do know from the information that's been gathered by our agents is that there will be... each of the Demon Lords will have a camp that will be situated around their central meeting point. We don't know what's happening at their central meeting point. We just know that they have a camp each to kind of give themselves space to not getting in each other's hair. Excuse me. However, there is suggestion that they may not actually be staying at their camps, only using their camps as portals to their own realms and returning when needed. So my suggestion is prepare for a general underneath a general.
Oh joy.
Lovely.
Great.
Well, I think we go.
When is this meeting being held?
Well, it's currently going to be happening in the next few hours that we know of.
Okie dokie,
right.
we need to go soon.
Yeah, that
The suggestion that we have, and the reason we've called you to the Yawning Portal, is because one of our mages has been able to make a connection between this layer of the abyss and the Yawning Portal downstairs. So, once you're ready to away, just mention to Dernan that you are needing the portal under the Harpers conscript, and he will do the rest for you. By all means, take your time. I say there's going to be in a few hours, but that's basically a guiding point for when they're suggesting to return to the Shadow Glade, not an actual they're meeting in the centre in a few hours. We don't actually know when that's happening. We just know that they are making rifts and joining them in the next few hours.
It's a fairly short-term plan. I had plans to go and meet up with a lady, but you know, whatever. I'll go and do it, I suppose. A little bit miffed, to be honest. But you know, get a chance to twat a thing with a mole. Happy chappy.
The faster we do this, the faster we're back, the faster you can have your date.
That's quite good.
Yeah, and we are surviving this, I'm sure, aren't we?
Have we got time to get a drink?
By all means, the
Grand.
bar is open downstairs. If you need to get any provisions beforehand, I know that it's getting quite late, but the Harpers general store, for want of a better word, has been allocated downstairs in one of the booths. Should you need to buy any equipment or potions or anything like that,
I should like to do that, yes.
yes, go downstairs. You'll find Grenville in the far booth down the bottom.
Okie dokie.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. Well, see you when we get back.
Good luck, and let's hope that you win this one.
Oh, we've done pretty well so far.
So,
3 of us have.
Don't think about it.
Never.
So you guys she has a moment of handing over a contract that asks for you to sign, saying that you agree to the terms of the employment by the Harpers. Essentially, reading that you are they're not held accountable should one of you die. There is parts of it that say that you are entitled to any loot or items that they have not asked for themselves to keep. So should you come across, say, for example, a Vorpal sword, unless they've asked you to get the Vorpal sword, you get to keep the Vorpal sword.
Vorpal, yes.
And also, it also reads that there is no guaranteed payment for this contract. They have not put a fee to hire, they've just got a contract for employment. Do you sign?
Yeah, I could live off this for a while, just on the chat alone. I put a big X.
As Jim Belushi signs, do either of you two sign?
Your priorities astound me.
Look, if I can
But
die
yes,
that
I
story.
agree. I sign also.
You sign, and Pepper?
Yep, scribble it down.
Lovely. So all of you sign. There's no... With the first time that you signed for
Can
a
I
contract...
get a copy?
She suggests that it'll be sent by Raven.
Perfect.
As you... the first time that you took a contract with the Harpers, there was a small pinch at the back of your neck, which kind of guaranteed that you weren't going to go off. Bit of like a Suicide Squad pact. But this time there's no pinch, there's nothing. There just seems to be a genuine kind of look of concern in her eyes as you all leave the room. Heading down into the tavern area, there is not a lot of there are not a lot of people down at the moment. There is a booth at the end that seems to be just completely like bombarded with different swords and armours. There's a small kind of gnomish figure sat at the back of the booth. There is Dernan, kind of very scraggly haired. He's got massive mutton chops, clean chin, moustache behind the bar, just cleaning a glass. And there seems to be just one or two random drinkers sat around.
Cool. I go to the place where all the weapons and stuff are.
Cool, so you go over to Grenville.
Following?
You're going to Grenville as well?
Yeah.
What? What is it?
Oh, British comedy. That's
You mean Granville? No, Grenville is a different person, please. Wait for Arkwit to come through and so...
Why you grabbing?
I can sell you porridge and nothing else. Anyway, enough of this. Enough of this Ronnie Barker tribute.
Enough of this gay banter.
That's Monty Python. Anyway, so you heading over to the gnomish figure? He looks up. And, oh, hello. Wow. You must be the Core of Tyr. We've been waiting for you. Everyone else has passed through already. Is there anything I can get you before you go?
Healing potions.
Healing potions. What sort of healing potions would you like? We have the regular healing potions we're doing for 50 gold. We have the greater healing potions we're doing for 450, and we've got the superior healing that we're doing for 5,500.
Can I grab 3 of the lesser?
3 of the lesser.
And then 2 of the next level up, please.
So, that would be 1,000, I think. 450 times 2, 900, then 3, that's 150. Yeah, that's 1,050.
Quick maths with Steve.
Roll for death. Anyway.
3 of the lesser.
So 3 of the lesser. So he starts juggling around all these little vials around him. He doesn't seem to have any cases for them. They're all just kind of laying on the table and starts moving around trying to find the ones. Pulls out the 5 that you've asked for, slides them across the table, and puts his palm out and goes, 1,050.
I hand it over.
Lovely.
There we go.
And for yourself, Tiefling, anything else?
I'd like one of the good stuff, the big potion.
Superior, the 5,500. How many would you like?
Yes, I'll just take. I think I take 2.
2, lovely. 5,500 would be 1,100. No, 10,000. 11,000 gold. Jesus! What is Jesus?
Drop it in his hand.
You drop 11,000 gold into.
Yes.
You see, he just goes.
Like individually, it takes me time.
You take a couple of bags out and start handing it to the gnome.
Lots
Coming
of
out.
coppers.
Yeah, can I pay everything in copper and silver?
There's a quantum in there too, that'd be quite nice, wouldn't it? It's an electrum piece, all it's grand. Could I get a superior, 2 of them and 2 greater?
Fantastic. That would be the maths that you probably know already as the mathematician of the group.
11,900, yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad that we're starting this like this.
Grand.
So you each buy your things. For those of you buying things, the regular potion, as we know, 2d4 plus 2.
Yep.
Greater, 4d4 plus 4.
Yep.
And then the superior is 8d4 plus 8, I believe. I believe it's that
So
one.
I will heal by the minimum amount I can do.
I'm pretty sure it's that one. Let me just double check the old.
Yeah,
I know there's one of them goes 20. I don't think I've put that one in the game.
Magic super duper duper healing potion.
That one, yes.
The big hit honcho.
My laugh has become Sidney James's over the last 3 days. I don't know why. It's like it's like an angry
That's not
Jimmy
Sydney.
Carr.
I just went for Punch and Judy, but
Could I also go to him? Could I get my water skin just full of ale? I'll do it at a bar.
Yes, I'd just go to the bar for that.
Grand. That's fine.
Yes,
you
your
went to
superior.
weapons guy.
Your superior is
For
8d4 plus 8.
Smashing.
And then the other one that we're looking for is supreme healing, but there's none of those available.
Supreme.
Anyway, so you go over to the bar. He charges you a gold piece to fill your water skin.
Sweet. I'm gonna get so drunk.
I've got
Great.
$20 in my pocket.
Go to the bar, Kirsty.
No one needs to bar to be
I
punster.
dabbled in flute.
I dabble. Anyway.
Grand, you're right. Anyone want to do anything else before we head on through?
I want to launch myself through.
I lean over to him.
Which one?
To
Grenville?
Grenville.
D&D, the note-taking game, unless you're a player. Yeah.
And I forget what I'm saying. No, What, do you have any advice or any knowledge that you could give to us?
Knowledge on what?
You know what, I'm feeling lucky. Anything.
Well, never eat yellow snow.
Good.
Poker is always in front.
Right.
The children normally are illusions made by a house that want to kill you.
What?
Sorry, that's another D&D joke.
No.
The children will die.
What is D&D?
D&D, it's a game that people play. They meet in the tavern every now and then. They roll out these characters.
It's got so meta already. My brain. My simple brain.
It's normally called Officers and Bosses, but then again, we're not in Hello from the Magic Tavern, so I don't want to get fucked.
It sounds stupid, and I walk off.
Can I go to the Yawning Gate?
Yep.
And be like, look, we're ready to go down.
Look.
She wants to be flung through first, and can I throw her through?
Cool. So you go over to the den and explain that you want to use the
I
portal.
want to throw Pepper through.
So he leads you through one of the back doors
Thanks.
in the tavern and goes into like where you'd expect to be a stock room. And in the middle of the room there is just a large well. It looks a bit like your average well, which would have a bucket hanging through, a bit wider than the average one. And emanating from the bottom of it is like a glowing green arcane light.
Ooh, that looks like it.
Well.
Get out.
What I do?
Tieflings die when they go through the Yawning Portal. Anyway, he kind of gestures you through and goes, right, well, the next part of this is, like your man here says, you jump through. If you're looking to throw her through, I'd probably lift her and drop her down.
No, she wants to be flung through. I'm flinging her through.
By all means.
I'm a simple dragonborn. I do what I'm
Are
told.
you trying to, knowing that he's saying this, are you trying to get out of the way, or are you letting him do this?
I did say launch, and the faster I go, the better it is.
Roll a strength an athletics check.
That is 29.
29. So you just pick her up by the scruff of her neck.
Can I just say I'm beautifully streamlined at this moment? I am ready.
You pick her up and you just start testing the weight of her, getting a feel for what you're about to throw, and you can see that the road just kind of billows a little bit and looking like it's like streamlining as she's asked. And then just without warning for you, Pepper, you just feel this moment of, a bit like when you get to the top of a drop on a roller coaster and you just suddenly get that whoa. You just feel yourself fly forward and down into the portal. Could you make a dexterity check for me?
Is this to pose for the photo?
What? What photo?
Dexterity check.
Natural 20.
Natural 20. You land in the middle of there's a moment as you come through. You go into this kind of like green. Everything feels like you're in the middle of a gelatinous cube for a second, and then you come out the other side, and you're falling just a couple of feet down into a very darkened clearing in the middle of what appears to be a woods. You land very much superhero style, one knee bent, landing, punching the ground. There's a moment where there's kind of like a as you land.
Can I jiggle my calf muscles?
Oh God!
Yes. you start to just tense your glutissimus dorsi.
Well, somebody's got to learn it, mate. Look at
You two are currently still stood in the Yawning Portal, by the way.
I would like to cannonball.
That's cannonball. So you're going to jump through. Are you jumping through after, or are you just going to... How are you going through?
I'm just gonna like walk into it, like foot forward, just fall in.
Cool. So you get up onto the side of the ledge and just kind of step gracefully. Could both of you make dexterity checks for me as you land?
Ooh, unnatural 20.
Unnatural 20.
That would be a natural 1.
I am keeping a record.
But that would be 11 in total.
No, that's fine. So,
Damn it! Why me?
So you guys seeing the same sort of thing as Pepper has just seen. You come through this kind of like green gelatinous cube moment, kind of pushing through like a arcane jelly, and then coming through, falling through the sky. Again, landing in this very graceful moment for yourself, Jingar. And a couple of seconds later, you're looking around trying to work out where Tullia is, and Tullia just body slams into the ground as she just lands face first, taking 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
I'd like to just quietly mock her under my breath. Jesus Christ, I mean, come on, just jump.
Oh no.
You now that all of you are here, we'll go a bit more into this. You've come to, after landing, seeing a moonlit clearing. Looking up at the sky, there is it looks like a very clear night sky. The trees around you seem to be blackish blue, and much like the light, there seems to be like a dim light coming from everything, which seems to be the moonlight landing on the surface. The trees are not too dense to allow cover, so you can kind of see very much through the trees to see what's coming up further ahead. But for now, there just seems to be trees.
Can I do just look around, see if there's like any obvious path or anything?
Yeah, make a perception check.
12.
12. Looking around, there's quite a nice kind of luscious grass around you that seems to also be bluish green. You look around the clearing to try to see if there's a pathway to go. There doesn't seem to be any man-made or physical, like, drawn path. It just seems to be you're in the middle of a clearing with trees sparsely spotted around you.
I remove myself from the floor.
So you stand up. Lovely.
And dust myself down a bit.
You seem to enjoy that a bit more than everyone else.
You saw nothing.
Okay. I'm fairly...
You saw nothing.
Alright. I saw nothing.
I'm a rogue. You saw nothing.
Can I just like stretch my legs off while this is all going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does anybody have any rough idea where we're meant to be going?
No.
Good.
Can I see any like footprints or anything around?
Make a survival check.
Natural 1.
Natural
You
1.
see a tiefling shape in the
Yeah.
ground.
You see there is a moment of like two like weird looking shapes, and there seems to be a bit of a circular shape in the middle of them, and then you're looking further and there's kind of like more of a larger footprint, and then there's two long, and then you start to realise you're just looking at the indentation in the ground that the tiefling made as she landed.
Look, okay, right. I'm actually like a natural born wanderer, me. So can I give it a little bit of a bash just to see if there's anything going on?
Survival check.
19.
19. Looking around, you kind of get the sense that you stop for a second and listen to the air, and you can hear like just insects and the sound of a bird in the distance. But you start to notice there's a very faint kind of not the sound of like swords being hit against swords, but you kind of hear like the very faint sounds of life, of a camp of some sort coming from the distance. About it would be southeast from where you are currently.
I relay this to the group. Look, I can hear people. Bit of sword fighty maybe.
All good.
I know you'd be happy about that.
Distracted. Yeah.
I want to go in and just go fight it. So that's just me.
Can I veto that?
No. Okay.
Thank you. Shall we stealth up?
Like the UN Security Council been vetoed by Russia. Quietly sulking in a corner, just walk to a tree like, no, unless we fight my maul anymore, no.
I just don't want to die.
What we do is you invade the Ukraine, everyone's like, ooh.
Jingar.
You know, we don't do political announcements on this podcast.
5 years ago, it's old news.
Jingar, we're just going to sneak in, then you get to attack, yes?
Alright, yeah, I'll give it a go.
Who's a good barbarian?
I'm a good barbarian.
Who's a good barbarian?
I'm a good barbarian.
Who's a... There you go.
Rah.
And then I'm going to sneak off.
Lovely. Roll a stuff check for me.
I get a fucking 1.
That's not far off.
That was a 3, but I'm going to add my stealthy stealth, which is a 19.
19,
That's
lovely.
embarrassing.
I mean, imagine if you rolled good, that would have been an
I
insane
know.
stealth check, right? Anyway, next time play something that
unfortunately,
isn't stealthy.
I'm a disappointment.
Yeah.
Social character.
So you start to just stealth off in the direction that he's pointed. You start to. Is anyone on stealthing behind, or
I'm following about 10 feet behind,
are you
stealthing.
stealthing? Yeah. Roll stealth for me.
That is an entire 12.
12, lovely. Are you stealthing?
I'm going to be about further 10 foot behind you, but just kind of huffing quietly, kicking the grass as it
So not stealthing.
No.
So we have like a
6 foot tall
we have a
barbarian.
20-foot chain of you. You have the very kind of, and then you got the kind of very crouched and almost like a lion getting ready to pounce. Then you've got behind her a couple of feet back the half elf just trying. I've seen her do it. I can do it as well. But struggling with the rogue getting caught under your feet every now and then. Just and then a couple of feet back, you can hear as you just see Jingar behind you, just go. I'm going to punch something. You start to travel for the next. How far are you looking to travel down?
How far away did it sound again?
It sounded a fair bit, but not too far.
Sounded faint, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Until we get like a visual on the source of the noise.
Cool. Are you with the stealth? I'm going to ask. Are you going like slow and stealthy, or are you trying to move at an average pace, but try to be quiet with it?
Yeah, going at average pace, but.
Lovely. Cool. So you start to sneak through the trees, and you're getting a lay of the land. You get through a lot of. It feels a bit like every time because of you're focusing ahead of yourself and not looking around you. It feels like any time you turn, you're turning into the place. Everything's nondescript. There's a lot of just tree, nothing in front of you. And this is the same for about an hour and a half to 2 hours as you're down on not in an all fours but very crouched position, travelling forward. The sound of swords clanging against swords are getting louder, but you've travelled for about an hour and a half to 2 hours and you can't see anything. Thank you for listening to the Alignment Unknown podcast. The players were Adam Unwin as Jingar, Kirsty Mealing as Tullia, and Kyra Leigh as Pepper. DM'd by Steve Archer. All background music was performed by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attributions 3.0 license. For more information on this, go to creativecommons.org/licenses/by/3.0. You can find more of Kevin's music at incompetech.com. All links are in the description of the episode. Theme music by Steve Archer. Thank you for listening. See you next time.